Hey guys, and welcome back to Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. We have thoroughly dissolved Sandman, so it's time to move on to the second Noir level of the game, with Vulture.
Ah, right, this guy.
This is your turf, Lewis. Get out the Yanks, bring it forth.
I remember Vulture being really freaking annoying in the 90s cartoon, but for the life of me, I don't remember a goddamn thing about him from the comics, except for the fact that he was the first villain in the recent Spider-Gwen comic series, which is awesome, by the way. You should totally read that.
In the Noir universe, he is actually a cannibal, and as Peter will mention in a second, he's the one who killed Uncle Ben, and by killed, I mean ate.
Oh, he's got a real, kind of classic Nosferatu sort of vibe and sort of his design. I can especially see it in the head, the nose, things like that.
Funnily enough, 2099's Vulture is also a cannibal. I think, both of them turned up in Spider-Verse as, the minions of the main group of bad guys.
Well, these bizarre animal crossbreed people, they gotta eat somewhere.
Sorry.
It's just that...
For a second there, I thought you were going to say these bizarre Animal Crossing people. I was like, whoa, that's a weird juxtaposition.
Now I want to see, Isabel, dressed up as Spider-Gwen. Because somebody has probably done that already, but might as well, right?
Man, these mooks, they really, really should try looking up every once in a while.
Okay, you know when Batman does an inverted takedown, it doesn't seem so bad because the guy's just hanging upside down screaming. When Spider-Man Noir does it, he covers their entire body in web. It's like, how are they breathing?
That's not his problem, mate. You know, he's got vultures to take down.
I notice you're having another alternate costume here for a Noir, and I believe I've seen this before. It's like the traditional Spider-Man costume, but it's sort of leathery, and it's got a lot of cross-stitching for the particular bits. Is that the one that you're using here?
This is a super early concept for Spider-Man Noir, designed by Marvel artist, oh god, another name that's hard to pronounce, Marko Djurdovic. Again, apologies to the guy. Noir never actually wore this suit. According to Marko, the colour choice or theme for the leather parts of the suit was sepia, while pigeon grey was used for the canvas areas. Note the traditional Spider-Man webbing across the suit.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, it's I like this one as a concept art. I like the one they ultimately went with for Noir, because I see the kind of thing they were going to here, but I do like how, like you said, use the sepia to kind of communicate the time frame. So I think it's actually a pretty neat take on the traditional suit.
Yeah, and for Noir, in this game, he wears just, like I said, a bombardier's jacket or whatever, like an aviator's jacket, but in Spider-Verse he wears kind of like a Neo-esque trench coat. It works, it's different, but it works.
I imagine these lesser used alternate universe Spider-Men don't exactly have character designs that are as set in stone as the more standard ones. But it's always interesting looking at concept art for characters and stuff, especially when they try to redesign existing ones. Like, I have the first volume of the New 52 Supergirl, and at the back there's just several pages of concept art for costumes they tried to design that looked absolutely nothing like either her classic look or the New 52 one.
Her New 52 costume looks stupid too. What the fuck is up with her weird... She's got, no pants on, but she has those weird thigh-high boots. Shit, that looks shitty, I'm sorry. I think it's a really stupid costume.
Boots with knee windows. I think it's simultaneously stupid and awesome. I like the overall design with it, and I kind of like that they brought back Superman's old electric blue shape for his symbol, just to give her something a little different as far as a symbol goes, but
I think my favourite kind of concept is Needle Mouse. You know, the original sketch for Sonic. It's so cute! What about you, Richie? Any concept art or alternate costumes throughout video game history that you enjoy?
Well, I am a massive fan of the concept art that you can find in the Bayonetta art book.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because, the concept designs for Bayonetta, there were so many, and some of them far, far, far more sexual than what ultimately ended up in the final game.
If you can believe that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fascinating. I really do always like seeing about concept art, because it allows you to see into the design process, and that kind of can make what ultimately ends up in the final product that much more special, because you can see all the work that's gone into getting to this point.
I just like ultimate costumes in video games in general. Like, the ones that stand out in my mind are a few from the Ultimate Spider-Man video game. I love the bopping about New York, wearing different duds and the like, and it's kind of sad that you can't unlock a lot of them nowadays using, like, level select codes or, like, unlock codes, etc. I don't mind earning them, and, you know, the very few different costumes in Smash Bros, Wii U, and 3DS are appreciated. I like costumes more than palette swaps, I gotta say.
I do have one other question. Does this game, I don't know if it was introduced at this point, does this game have the final Spider-Man costume in it?
The final Spider-Man costume?
The final Spider-Man costume is just like Peter wearing a stylized kind of red blazer, and it's just like the straight blue pants. It's got like no webbing lines on it. It's a very simple costume, but it's the last costume he wears before his presumed death.
No, not to my knowledge. Sorry, I can't put it off anymore. Nice glitch game. It's a real good job that the fucking slam move sends the shockwave through the boundaries of the wall. Otherwise, I would have had to restart this particular take.
Oh, jeez. That's awful.
Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions is a perfectly programmed game that doesn't bug out at all.
Oh, man. It's always a bummer, like a funny bummer, but a bummer when a good game winds up having, you know, glitches of that nature and it kind of seriously bust up your flow.
Yeah, you better keep running.
I have to say, looking at kind of the design they went with for the Vulture here, it's seriously making me think about a particular semi-fictional legend that was used very recently in a particular horror game.
We talked about Nosferatu, the thing Helldragon talked about at the start of the poem?
I think he's talking about Slender.
No, I'm talking about the Wendigo.
Ah, okay.
Wendigo!
Because it's a major spoiler for the game that I'm referring to, but I won't name it so that it's not spoiled. But it's that kind of very elongated features, kind of very white face. It's all about cannibalism.
Yeah.
Very kind of athletic, and all of that. And I'm just looking at like what the Vulture looks like. And I'm just like, that looks almost identical to what the design for this game went with for the Wendigo. And it's just like, how very interesting.
I really like this section, just before we get off it, having to avoid the spotlights and such. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the older, like, 2D Spider-Man games. They had sections where you had to, like, crawl up buildings without getting hit by stuff and make it into windows and the like.
Yeah, but those weren't very good. I played, like, the one on the Game Boy. You know, the nerd reviewed that one at one point. That one is jank, admittedly.
Well, yeah, they're all kind of jank. I think the one I played was on Master System, but for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it.
Unfortunately, it seems Marvel has always been a bit behind DC in terms of adaptation stuff, and up until the recent Marvel movies, anyway. But they didn't really do very good video games until Spider-Man 2.
I'm just liking all the conversation between the goons here and the like. And you'll notice that Noir is having to fight a lot more people now, so I would recommend just using air launchers wherever possible, because there'll be guys who like throw like Molotovs or grenades at you, and it just kind of gets a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, although on that note, I do find it a bit more fun than Fighting is Amazing or 2099. Just because it keeps me on my toes.
I think Amazing relies far too much on like those heavy web attacks. In 2099, they use the excuse that he has the slow down time thing to just throw tons and tons of enemies at you. And you know, the enemies keep coming, but your meter will run out eventually unless you've beefed it up a bit for upgrades.
What would you say, out of all the Spider-Man games you've played then, is your favorite Spider-Man combat system? Like, you can even count, you know, like the sections of this game, even if it's not like the whole game. Like, what is your favorite, like, all around?
control-wise, like, not speaking in terms of combat, I would say Spider-Man 2. Combat-wise, this.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it. I did sort of like the combat system in Amazing Spider-Man now, but I also don't necessarily count that as much because it's basically Arkham Asylum with Spider-Man.
Well, that's not bad necessarily. If they refine the basic formula and make it feel like Spider-Man, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just that no points for originality there.
You're out of here.
Copying isn't inherently bad. It's copying and then doing it worse than the thing that you're copying and insulting the original thing. That's the worst part.
Yeah, well, I would still say Arkham Asylum did it better, because better animations, better implementation of the counterattack system. The thing that always bugged me about the counterattacks in The Amazing Spider-Man is that the spider sense appears over Spider-Man's head, well, as you would expect. But unfortunately, that means, unlike in Arkham Asylum, you can't tell which enemy you're countering.
Ah, okay. It seems like a bit of an oversight on the developer's part, but what do I know? I just talk over other people's work. I don't program games.
I gotta say, this particular fight right here does look really fun. Like, and I'm speaking as someone who hasn't played this game, obviously, but it's frantic, you're trying to dodge, quickly enough, you're on your toes, like somebody had said. It does look really entertaining. I just don't want to do the stealth sections to get to it.
I think you would enjoy the stealth, honestly, because apart from, like, certain bits where, like, the challenges will, well, challenge you to do close quarter takedowns, which are about as finicky as you might expect. You have to get really close and then press the B button. The stealth is pretty nice. It's pretty fun.
Well, I mean, from what I can tell, it's stealth in massive air quotation marks. It's like, it shows all the hallmarks of a stealth game, but it's not, like, as punishing as I think a full-on stealth title would be for you getting caught.
Surprise!
It's time for the Vulture.
The thing about the stealth in Spider-Man Noir's levels is that it's a very simplistic compared to something more complex or complicated like Metal Gear Solid, or I think... Is Siphon Filter a stealth series, or am I mixing that up with something else?
I think you can stealth in Siphon Filter, but it's more action-packed Metal Gear Solid, basically. That's kind of what they were going for when they made that game.
Is that the series with Sam Fisher?
No, the main character of Siphon Filter is named Gabe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the only thing I personally remember about Siphon Filter is that, like, I think it was in GamePro or some other old magazine that isn't around anymore. There was this, like, short bit of fan fiction, parody fan fiction, about Gabe and Solid Snake meeting, and Solid Snake was hiding in a box, but the person running the searchlight rifle was actually smart, so they shot the box. And Solid Snake died. Solid Snake died screaming that you shot me in my ass.
That sounds like Electronic Gaming Monthly. They'd pull some shit like that.
So, the Vulture. Honestly, I like this level. I like the Vulture's level. The boss fights are kind of janky and not really all that fun. He pulls the, oh no you cannot hit me now, a little bit too much for my liking. But honestly, Noir was never really about the combat, not as much as the other three Spider-Men.
I think the coolest Vulture was the one in Web of Shadows where he used the swords like his wings. Like, I thought... I'm sitting there and I'm watching that for the first time. Like, I don't know why I haven't thought of this before, but I kind of want it, because it looks neat.
The whole, like, black and red kind of thing actually reminds me of the Vulture from Spectacular Spider-Man, actually. Man, Spectacular did, like, villains right, did the heroes right. It was just a fucking great show, so don't mind me if I suck it off a bit more as we go through this playthrough. And he's just gonna run away. Good stuff.
I do like the searchlights in these boss fights. It gives the fight a nice, sort of unique atmosphere that fits with Noir.
Or will it catch you?
Is that Stephen Blum again?
Yeah, that's Steve Blum. Man, this game reuses a lot of voice actors. Like, I've heard James Arnold Taylor in pretty much every NPC's voice since we started. Daily Bugle shout out.
There you go.
Oh, please, for the love of God, can they get J.K. Simmons?
No, we've already done this talk, I think.
I don't care, it's worth repeating again and again and again until it happens.
Oh yeah, and again and again and again until you get it right.
So, Vulture has Noir helpless. Why doesn't he, A, take the mask off, or B, just kill him? Why do that elaborate train track thing?
I don't think he cares about who he is, and also the train was coming, so by the time he's finished feasting, he would have been run over himself.
Well, yeah, but, slit his throat and then fly away. Or fly away with him. I don't know.
That's not how he kills his victims, mate.
Of course, Vulture in this continuity, I'm sorry, is not a winged creature, but just someone who jumps a lot. He's basically a flea man from Castlevania.
Oh my god, he is as well! Right down to the hunchback and everything. The first time I went into this stealth section, my initial run, I had a bitch of a time, but then again, I could say the same for every stealth section of Shatty Dibs on my first go around, but I managed to do this flawlessly, spoilers, sorry, and I was impressed, because I'm usually typically terrible at stealth, but something about this just flowed so right for me.
The thing about the stealth sections in Shattered Dimensions is that they're kind of like the ones in Beyond Good and Evil, in the sense that you can usually find a specific solution, like they're more of a puzzle than a true stealth section, which is it's good for subsequent playthroughs, because once you know what to do, you can just go through the motions and get it done relatively fast. But at the same time, not as much room to play around either.
Those kind of puzzles are always best when you get through it once and then you don't have to do it so quickly. Like, one reason I don't like replaying, like Ratchet Clank: A Crack in Time, is that, I can get through the game relatively easy, but then you get to those motherfucking time puzzles, and they take so goddamn long to do, and they're so boring, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I think this may be an instance of spider sense working against you, because obviously while you've got it turned on, I just keep it on for convenience's sake, but it lights up the whole area, so it makes light sources a little bit harder to distinguish. Like right here, I think I'm purely in the light, even though I'm above the light source. So, I don't know, use it, but be careful when you do.
Yeah, you're gonna spend a lot of time switching it on and off the first time you play these sections.
I like when he, sticks somebody to the wall and hangs him out there with webbing, because when that webbing dissolves, that guy's just gonna fall flat on his ass.
Whee!
Hey, somebody save me!
Wait, did the person that we just rescued say, hey, somebody save me, when we, picked her up and were saving her?
Man, that's just NPCs in Spider-Man games in general, really. I won't read too much into it.
The number of times in a game where an NPC has had automated dialogue that triggered at a hilariously bad time.
My balloon! I'm gonna take you down.
That was like the the slowest webbing kind of pull-up I've ever seen.
Just like casting out a reel and reeling it back in.
Dude looked like a balloon.
That's it. Keep walking, you'll never even see your friend.
Yeah, like, I know it's like nighttime right now, but these guys are seriously blind.
Well, if I can't see them, they don't exist.
Like how the searchlight goes past the guy, and then it goes back, and whoever's running it just doesn't notice that the guy's suddenly gone.
Where are the other guys that were scheduled to patrol this area? Oh, I bet it's nothing. Oh, hey, Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's just the wind.
Yeah, it's the wind taking these guys down.
Alright, let's see, I gotta patrol the area, and then I gotta get up at 3 tomorrow. Get caught by Spider-Man. Oh, hey, Barry, what are you doing up here?
You yanked that guy right out of the searchlight. Is there anyone even left running the searchlight?
No, well, there's guys in the blimp above, but, I don't know, maybe it's on, like, automatic or something?
Timms doesn't pay them enough. He pays them in, like, meat. Oh, thanks, Toombs. I really appreciate it.
This is weirdly Barry-shaped, this meat. Don't question it.
You do extra good, I'll get you some sauce. Yeah, no, I think I'm okay.
It's all good. This section right here is by far the most difficult, because we've got guys going all the way around this water tower here, and you can very easily get spotted, but I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. There is an easier way to do this that involves, like, getting spotted and, like, luring them all to one side of the thing and, like, resetting the patrol pass, but I opted to do it a little bit slower and a little bit more carefully.
This is also one of those kind of sections that gets easier the more guys you've already taken down.
Oh, well, yeah, naturally.
Yeah, so it's that first one that you gotta watch, because taking down the first guy, it's the easiest point in the puzzle to get spotted, but once you've taken down that first guy, you've opened a gap for yourself and can take the other 3 down more easily.
Like, there's nothing to say you can't just pick up the hostage and take them back. I think it's possible. I don't know if they're locked there, like quantum locked, while the guys are walking around, but I don't know, just do the stealth sections however you like. There's really a lot of choice here.
You creeps better let me go.
And the other guy just didn't hear that. The wind sounds like skulls getting cracked for some reason.
It's city wind.
That wistful ditty.
And that's all she wrote.
Oh yeah.
Gotta save James Arnold Taylor, because he's got a game coming out on PS4 soon.
Seriously.
And apparently he knows Norman Osborn as well.
It's like when you have to save Stanley in every level of, like, the Lego Marvel Heroes game. Like, you have to save him, otherwise he can't do any more cameos.
Oh, is that actually a thing?
Yeah, it's totally in that game.
Yeah, I'm sure some guys with sledgehammers will be more of a challenge than the guy who can literally rip my face off. Good stuff. Sadly, this is probably the low point of the Vulture level, and it's just another case of padding. Just fight more guys, fight a lot of guys.
I guess I like to think during development, like, you know, they did the first level, it's full of stealth, then somebody from Activision comes in, whoa! That's challenging! Dude!
Yeah, seriously.
Turn that down and have them fight more guys. That's it.
But Mr. Activision, Mr. EA, they're not even involved with this, but I'll group him in anyway. Mr. Activision EA, stealth is like the opposite of action. We don't care. We're Activision, not Stealth Vision.
We like to be active. Our players like to be active. But they're sitting on their ass in front of a television.
There's nothing active or shooty about Stealth-O-Vision.
Can we put a Call of Duty section at the end of the Noir levels? You've just fucking ruined the creative process here. Good. Ship it. We're done here.
How much DLC do you think we can pack in?
Man, the DLC back then was like nothing compared to what it is now. It's a fucking like gold mine for developers.
Yeah, DLC is such bullshit these days, but we've already said all these arguments.
I just hate it when they do something like they make the obvious costume that everyone wants. For example, in The Amazing Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man costume, into DLC when the game itself has unlockable costumes. You know what's great about that costume? Okay, it's not even its own separate DLC costume. It's something you unlock as a reward for getting any one of the other DLCs. Doesn't matter which one you get. It's like, okay, we know nobody wants these DLC packs. We know no one cares about any specific one, but we want you to fork over money for at least one. So, once you get one, you can unlock this costume.
For Shy Dims, like, some of the costumes, like, were available as, like, specific retailer or retailer-specific, like, DLC things. Like, you could get them earlier in the game. But there are codes for, like, some of them as well. And you could also unlock them by doing, like, I think it's 180 challenges. But the Mangaverse one, oh no, it doesn't get an unlock code for the game. Oh no, you gotta do everything to get that one.
Good thing I don't have nostalgia for these costumes, and thus I don't give a shit. It's like when they make Goro available as a fucking pre-order bonus. I'm like, that's awesome. Too bad I don't give a shit about Goro, because let me tell you, if they pulled that shit with Sub-Zero, people would fucking complain up and down, you know?
Yeah, but that'd be kind of like, Well, considering how important Sub-Zero is to Mortal Kombat, it'd be kind of like making Ryu DLC.
Yeah, that'd be strange if they did that for, making Ryu DLC in a fighting game. Oh, wait.
No, I mean like DLC in his own fighting game.
just fall down already. I'm running out of boxes over here.
These guys have really thick skulls and really, really stable shoulder blades. They're like medical miracles here.
And the voice of Clancy Brown.
That's true. That guy used to be the Kurgan, you know that, right? He was the Kurgan in Highlander.
It's better to burn out than fade away.
So, who are these guys? The Hammer Brothers?
I've been playing a lot of Super Mario Maker recently, so that quote resonates with me. I understood that reference. Fuck Hammer Bros, by the way. Shitty enemy. They're really awkward to fight. 9 out of 10 IGN.
Too much hammers.
You know what? A 9 out of 10 for really awkward to fight is a pretty accurate representation of the 3-point scale.
Okay, I think we're done here now. We can actually move on to an actually interesting set piece.
Yay!
The Lunchroom.
I'm closing in on him. I can feel it. If I know Vulture, he'll go higher and higher, like a bird.
Like a vulture.
I chose Rapture, Spider-Man.
But since he's a flightless bird, he's gotta be a penguin.
Either that or a dodo.
And apparently you don't know Vulture.
Anyone to drink of this Molotov cocktail? It burns all the way down. Too much?
No, I think Monshroud was wanting to have a little bit of a visit there, because he saw someone that looked so much like himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I was the voice of Vulture in the game, I'd just use my Monshroud voice. I'd give it a bit of this, Spider-Man. The building is building. Or the building is burning. Shit, ruined it. Retake.
Save all around you.
I didn't like this part. I really didn't like this part.
Extrapolate, explain.
I spent so much time here looking for the last goddamn hostage. And trying to get them down. It's just convoluted.
Well, if I'm honest, the bit where the screen fades to black after the cutscene and where the gameplay kicks in, the bit where the gameplay kicks in was another take. Or at least it was the same clip, but further down the line, I had to redo this section, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that one.
I just kept getting lost. I couldn't really find a web zippable path to the rest of the guys, and that health bar of the blazing tower just kept getting lower and lower.
Yeah, the timing thing is another thing. I mean, it makes sense for this to be the way it is. I just think it could have been a little bit better designed.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to find yourself stuck in this section.
I mean, it does look kind of very difficult to find your way around. I mean, I suppose the fact that you are in Spider-Sense-y detective mode is making it slightly worse for you, because you've not got the difference of all the colours, as obviously anyway. But it still just looks so confusing, because it's just like, there's no real landmarks, I suppose.
Kind of goes back to what I was saying about overusing it earlier, I guess. Is that a hostage or a bag of burning clothes? Who even knows at this point?
It's that hard to tell, yeah.
Thanks, Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's just, you got the choice between either washing out all the color and being able to see where the hostages are, or turning off detective mode and not being able to see beyond, 5 inches of where you are.
Are we just calling it detective mode now, or shorthand?
Might as well. Is Spider-Man really a detective? They can't really call it scientist mode. It doesn't really work.
Spider mode?
Why didn't you jump out of the way of that, Tombs? It was coming towards you at 5 miles per hour. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Bang.
But I call it detective mode in every game it's in, even if it has its own name, because, this kind of vision mode that shows you where things are is something that a lot of games have been doing since Arkham Asylum. Even Tomb Raider's got a thing going now, which is all kinds of weird. Why would you need that in a Tomb Raider game?
It's survivor vision.
Yeah, survival instincts. Basically, highlights everything in the environment and turns the screen gray. The catch in Tomb Raider is that you can't move while using it. You can stand still and sort of detect things, and the moment you move, it fades back to normal vision. So it's not as all-powerful.
I guess that's a decent way of nerfing it, I suppose. I should point out, Noir probably mentioned this at some point, and we were busy talking about, like, fucking Jubilee or some shit. This is not the first time he's encountered Adrian Toombs in the Noir universe. There's once before, and he believed that he actually killed the Vulture. This time, he's like, oh no, Vulture, you're back for a second time. Vulture 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Well, that's exactly how Noir sounds. Oh no, it's Vulture. Spider-Man, I will kill you this time, and I'll feast on your delicious flesh. I don't think so. Vulture.
Okay, thank you. Starring fucking Christopher Walken as Noir Spider-Man. Oh, these vultures are making me thirsty.
Unfortunately, when you're dealing with a game like this and you're bringing in all these Ultraverse Spider-Men that not necessarily every player knows about, you can't really build too much off the emotional resonance of previous adventures.
It's like the universes shown in-game are basically the ones in the comics, but not, like, exactly. I suppose the closest summation would be like a mirror universe, like almost exactly the same, but it takes place in a video game.
So it's the Arkhamverse. Excellent.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, the Arkhamverse at the time of Arkham Asylum. Things got a bit silly by the time Arkham City and Arkham Knight happened.
Just as an aside, like, out of us four here, which of the Arkham games did you like best? Personally, for me, it was Arkham Asylum, because I found City to be a bit too busy. Like, it built on a lot of what made Asylum great, but I feel there was just too much fluff to it, and besides the improved bosses, the City aspect didn't really do it for me. But what was your opinion, Lewis?
Overall, I think you got a point about Asylum versus City. Arkham Asylum, to me, feels like, on the whole, a more streamlined package, but part of me just prefers the overall quality of Arkham City a little bit more. And Arkham Knight is my third, because goddamn that Batmobile breaking up the flow of the whole thing.
I haven't played that yet, so I guess I'll form my opinion when I get to it, but the identity of the Arkham Knight is obvious. I'm not going to spoil anything here. Kind of a letdown. What about you, Helldragon? Have you played any of the Arkham games?
Well, like I said before, I played Asylum for a bit, and then I got to that stealth section and I fucking quit.
It's
but I
Batman! What did you expect?
Well, I got the games for free. I didn't actually buy them, so I figured I'd give it a try.
I wanted the Batman from the really early comics where he used a gun.
Oh, yeah, that's totally perfect for a guy like me.
Vulture! Where are you piece of...
Jeez. I could tell this is going to be a boss room, because it's almost fucking identical to the last one.
Before we get to fragment-empowered Vulture, Richie, have you played the Arkham games at all?
I have not, no, generally because I don't tend to do stealth games that much either, and I don't know, never really found much of an interest, although from what I have seen of watching them, Asylum always has seemed like the more complete and contained package, which I think I appreciate a hell of a lot more than sort of ridiculously overly sprawling situations like City and Arkham Knight.
Okay, well, potential Arkham Asylum commentary next year sometime, or, well, 2016, sorry, we were recording this in 2050, I got a bit confused there. Lewis, maybe you could join us for that one too?
I would have absolutely no problem with that.
Oh yeah. Alright, this boss is basically the same as the first one, he just gets a little bit more antsy and avoids the spotlights a bit more now.
Yeah. Not a big fan of the Vulture bosses.
Yeah, Lewis's response is basically my analysis of this boss fight. The level itself is, I find, really interesting. You know, with the avoid the spotlights bit, you know, with the stealth sections on the rooftops, all that's great. It's probably, I would rank it above the Hammerhead one, which is just, you know, the kind of basic stuff. But the boss fight with the Vulture kind of lets it down.
Yeah, you know, the previous bosses up to this point, like your first encounter with a supervillain and your second encounter at the end of the level would basically be two different fights, but in this case it's just kind of the same fight, slightly more difficult.
Ah, the light! Jesus Christ, right in my eyes!
So, does the fragment, it's clearly giving him powers to, like, kind of teleport, but if it enhances his natural abilities, does it give him, like, super cannibalism powers? Like, can he eat, like, anything now and become, like, super powered from that? Like, give me some details on this.
Yeah, I could eat an entire car. Boom.
Yeah, he will place first at the cannibal eating contest, you know? He downs, like, 12 humans, and that's how he beat the champion.
Well, you know, I believe the Goblin of this universe, Norman Osborn, found him at like a freak show, kind of sideshow sort of thing, which wasn't out of the norm in, you know, the era that Noir takes place in, unfortunately. So, read that how you will. He could have had a chance at a normal life, but unfortunately he looked like a vulture, so everyone called him Vulture, and he became the Vulture at the end.
There you go.
I'm really good at summarizing plot points quickly.
So the moral of the story is, don't bully kids, they'll turn into cannibals and eat your mother.
No, the moral of the story is, don't be ugly.
I like that one, I'm going to ignore that. I like that one J-Hole comic, where I think it's covering the first Spider-Man film, you know, the Sam Raimi one, where that bully is, like, on the floor after getting his shit pushed in by Peter, and he's like, wow, this kid is exhibiting, like, superhuman strength and whatnot. I better continue to bully him and call him names.
Yeah, that's smart.
Okay. Oh, man. Oh, god damn it. Vulture, are you still alive?
Like, you can use the searchlights to take out a lot of health, but I just found that he doesn't seem to want to play ball most of the time, so random fisticuffs. That'll do.
I mean, yeah, this does seem like just a tedious fight.
Well, again, I'm kind of doing it wrong, so I wouldn't put the blame on the game this time around. What the fuck happened there?
Surprise!
Nothing really spoils a good boss fight quite as much as being too damn long, though.
Again, it's my fault primarily, so I can't really blame the boss fight, and now I'm in a really awkward position where I have to kind of try and save face.
Well, no, but the thing is that if the boss doesn't play ball with the kind of lights, then it makes it very difficult for you to play the boss fight as it is intended, at which point you kind of do just have to deal with it this way. I mean, think of it like the fights in Sticker Star.
Ugh, can I not?
Like the big boss fights, where you've got the only way of really doing successful damage to them is using the very specific stickers that they want you to use. If you don't have them, you're just going to have to slog it. If you kind of do use them, and you've used them up, and you still haven't beaten the boss, then you have to slog it. So, the bosses don't necessarily always play ball, and sometimes you do just have to do things which just make it just way too tedious.
And it will eventually reach a point, I'll get off this hate-filled tangent in a second, don't worry, where trying to, you know, out the battle by war of attrition will not work, because the final boss, I'm not going to spoil it, but you can probably guess who it is, has, like, fucking spiked helmets on, like, his weak points. So if you don't have, like, any iron foot stickers, you're fucked. Start again, buddy.
By the way, we are recording this for January. By then I will probably have played Paper Jam, so, don't fuck this up, Nintendo, is all I'm saying.
Well, last thing about Sticker Star, because I haven't played Paper Jam, I like the look of the Paper Mech thing. There was never any more perfect end to a game that I've played in my lifetime than when, just as the credits were about to roll, the game crashed and went back to the main menu.
Awesome.
Well, that saved you some time.
Yeah, I actually ended up watching the credits on YouTube, it was kind of funny. Alright, come on, let's finish this overly long boss fight off. Get out.
Yay! Is it?
No, we gotta do another one of these.
Because of course we do. It's the only way to defeat a boss, isn't it?
40-minute part!
Ooh.
He's jarring as hell first-person QuickTime events.
Steve Bloom is just having a whale of a time.
I will give them compliments for making the first-person scuffles with Vulture incredibly creepy, though.
Well, that's the point, I suppose. Yep, just let me break free of your superhuman grip. Let's do this. Round 2.
Really?
And it's over.
Then it just sort of teleports down to the first floor.
Osborn's next.
Oh yeah, he ain't kidding. The next level is the last one for Noir. Act 3 is the last level for everyone, actually.
Yeah, and that ultimately that makes the game feel a little shorter than it is, in the sense that every Spider-Man gets like 3 levels, and that's it.
Why couldn't there be 4 acts? There's 4 Spider-Men. Oh well, maybe I'm reading too much into it. All golds, baby. I think there might be, thank you. I think there might be a platinum rank, but I've never experienced it. Maybe the guide I read got it wrong. Who cares? Moving on, we'll take on 2099 second level next time. Bye for now.